Hello, first graders. My name's Amy.
And my name's Susan, and we work for the City of Fishers Parks Department. And today we've partnered with your school to bring you a very special program.
We're going to learn about nature.
And you're first graders, so we call this program
Nature First.
Hi everybody, we're here in the forest of Ritchie Woods, and we have followed all the rules of being good citizens.
I'm staying on the trail.
And I left everything I found right here.
And right now, I'm sitting quietly and listening and watching for my favorite mammal here at Ritchie Woods, the white-tailed deer. You know, fall's going to turn to winter soon, and the animals here are going to have to make some choices. Will they be able to find food, water, shelter?
Animals are going to make one of three choices. They're either going to migrate, which means move, they're going to hibernate, or they're going to stay right here and adapt to the Indiana winters. Today, we're going to tell you a little bit more about three different animals and the three different choices they made to make it through the winter.
The white-tailed deer lives here year-round at Ritchie Woods. And this fall, it's going to make some changes to get ready for the colder weather. It's going to adapt, which means change, so it's prepared for the Indiana cold. The first thing it does is eat and eat and eat. It will fatten up with leaves and berries all fall. When food becomes scarce during the winter, it will live off that fat that it's stored up.
Check out this pelt from a white-tailed deer. A pelt is the fur in the skin of an animal. And this is really nice and thick. Doesn't it feel good? The hair gets thicker during the winter and it helps the deer stay warm. And also it changes color. So in the summer, it's kind of a reddish brown, and then in the winter, it gets to be a darker grayish brown to help it blend in with the leaves and the trees.
Look at these antlers. Aren't they great? They belong to a white-tailed deer. In fact, they belong to the boy or the male deer. We call him a buck. And this time of year, in the fall, they start to get itchy. Now, what do you do when you get an itch? You scratch it, right? Well, these antlers that are made out of bone, they scratch them. They go up to a tree and they start scratching their antlers. And in about February, these antlers are going to fall off. And then in spring, they'll start growing some new ones. You know, white-tailed deer, they live here year-round at Ritchie Woods. They've made a choice to stay and adapt to the cold Indiana winter.
Here in the forest of Ritchie Woods, I can hear the sounds of many of the birds that can withstand the winter. They stay here year-round. But there's one very special bird that lives in Ritchie Woods during the summer, but in the fall, it makes the choice to migrate or move to a different habitat. That bird is called the ruby-throated hummingbird. This fast-flying jewel can be found buzzing around the prairie during the summer, sipping nectar from hundreds of flowers each and every day. But it's in the forest habitat where it builds its nest. The hummingbird nest is so small that something only the size of a jelly bean can fit inside. The hummingbird camouflages the outside of its nest with a combination of tiny crusty plants called lichen and dead leaves.
This is how small a hummingbird nest really is. And look how small their egg is to fit inside. You know, hummers are pretty remarkable. They can flap their wings 50 times a second, and they can fly backwards. But with the shorter daylight hours and the cooler temperatures, hummers know that it's time for them to migrate. Can they find flowers that they need to sip nectar from here in Indiana in the winter? No way. Hummers make the choice to migrate or go south where they can find more food for the winter.
Their little body, weighing less than 1 penny, will travel thousands of miles to Mexico or Central America to spend the winter where the food is plentiful. Plentiful means a lot. There'll be a lot of food for them. And then next spring, when the flowers start to grow and the weather warms, they'll make their return journey to Richie Woods.
Isn't she sweet? On the count of 3, let's all go, aww. Ready? 1, 2, 3, aww. This is Shelby, and Shelby is an eastern box turtle. Now, eastern box turtles live on the forest floor here at Richie Woods. They're not water turtles. And they're called a box turtle because Shelby has a hinged bottom here that when she gets frightened or scared, she can pull her legs and her head and her tail all into the shell and close that shell up tight so predators can't get to her.
You and I, we're warm-blooded. If someone took our temperature right now, it would be around 98.6. But reptiles like Shelby, they're cold-blooded. And so that means wherever Shelby is, she adapts to the temperature of that local area. So when it gets really, really cold in Indiana, Shelby has no way of staying warm, so she buries herself underground and hibernates. She makes the choice to hibernate for the winter. Let's review what we learned today. Animals are going to have to make a choice of what they do when winter approaches in Indiana. The white-tailed deer, for example, makes the choice to stay and adapt to the environment.
The ruby-throated hummingbird, he'll migrate. He'll go to a warmer climate for the winter.
And a reptile like our box turtle will stay and hibernate and bury themselves underneath the ground where they can stay warm and safe until the spring.
So think about other animals that you know that might live at Richie Woods or in your neighborhood. What choice do you think that they'll make when winter approaches? Your teacher might give you a paper that has some Indiana animals on it. Think about what food that animal might need or what shelter they might need. Then make a choice on whether you think it will migrate, hibernate, or stay and adapt. Share your prediction with your family, your teacher, and your classmates.
See you next time.